common log base 10. You could write it with the base 10, that number there, but leaving it off is the way you'll see it. That's the way you'll see it written. You can look down here. These are base 10s. The way I would write it is without that number there. Okay, so just understand you can either put the 10 there or not, but know when you see that, that means it's a base 10. Okay? All right. And one of the nice things about common logs is there's a button on your calculator so you can put it right in your calculator. So, and by the way, scientific calculators also have this button. You don't have to have a graphing calculator to do these in your calculator. So find the word log, which is right there. Okay, so basically once you find the log button, all we're doing is using our calculator to evaluate each expression to the nearest 10 thousandths. How many decimal places is that? Anyone know? So let me just remind, and if you want to write this, feel free. Okay, it's actually 4. This is your tenths, hundredths, thousandths, being lazy, and then 10 thousandths. Okay, so it's 4 decimal places. So really, once you find the button on your calculator, this is a rounding exercise. Okay, so it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. So we're going to this place here. All right, so just putting that in our calculator, log 23. And you can close the parentheses if you want to, but you don't have to. If you're going to hit enter, you never have to close the parentheses. By hitting enter, you're telling the calculator you're done. So you just type it in. And then we would round that to 4 decimal places. So the 5th number tells the 4th number what to do. The 5th number tells the 4th number what to do. So the 2 tells the 7 to stay the same. Right? Guys, we have to be able to round. You don't want to get a question wrong because you rounded it incorrectly. And when I use this symbol, that means I rounded. 1.3617. That would be our answer. Do you get marked wrong if you don't use that symbol? Nope, not at all. Just want you to understand the language because I write it this way. Okay? Same thing with this one. Log 101. Put it in my calculator. Round correctly. Right? The 4th place is the 3. The number to the right is its boss, so the 2 tells the 3 to stay the same. So 2.0043. 4 decimal places. Now, why are we doing that? Why did I make that a whole example? Well, it's one step in our second of 2 types of problems. So we have to know how to put it in our calculator to be able to solve this next level of equations. So what we have here, I know you guys are still writing, so I'm just talking to you. We have equations that we have to solve, and we're solving for x. The problem is that x is an exponent. It's a power. We need it down on the ground. Well, when we've done these before, I always told you I'll never give you a type that you can't do this to. I lied. Didn't lie, but not at that point. We would have had problems that looked like this before. Okay, these are the old, I'm going to say old here. You know what I'm talking about. Old type of problem, like on our last test, was solve this by finding like bases. What base can we make a 2 and an 8? 2. Right. 2 to the x equals 2 to the 3rd. And remember, if the bases equal each other, then the powers equal each other. And all of the problems that I gave you in the past, you would always be able to make the bases the same. Well, now, look at what we have. There's no number. I try, because I always would rather do this method if I can, okay? But there's no way to make an 11 into a base of that, or 101. You can try, pick up your calculator and try it, but it doesn't work. So we need another way of solving it. And this is what we're going to do. We are going to use something called the power property. And I wrote it up there. I don't know. I just forgot to fill it in. Right here. Remember the power property, guys? The power property said if you have a log that has a power, so that's log base b of m to the n, so the power is n, you can rewrite it with the n going to the front. So that would be n log base b of m. Okay? So if only this example we're about to do was a log problem, we could apply that property of log. So remember this fun rule about equations? You can do anything you want to it as long as what? Both sides, right. So if I want to make this into a log equation, I can. I can literally, we call it taking the log of both sides. I'm going to give the left side a log and the right side a log. By doing that, I'm keeping this balanced. Log on both sides, I'm balancing the equation. I'm keeping it equal. Now, why am I going to add the word log into it? Well, by making this a log equation, I think it's such a cool little method, trick, whatever you want to call it. Once we make this a log, we're able to use the log properties. And this is a power property we're going to apply here. We can rewrite the x down in front. So guess what we just did? We brought the x down onto the ground, which makes this much easier to solve for x. And that's your goal with solving an equation, is solving for x, getting x by itself. So don't let it throw you off that these are words. Log 11 is a number. I'll prove it to you. Log 11 is that, okay? We just don't write that because we'd have to round. Writing log 11 is more exact. So what do I do to get x by itself? What can I do? Divide by what? Yes, divide. Think about it. If it's just like this. Don't write this if you don't want to. If I gave you this and I said, how do you get x by itself? You'd go, oh, this is multiplication. The opposite is division, right? We would all know how to do that. It's the same idea. It's just written a little funny. This is still a number. Log 11 is some number multiplied by x. And I'm going to multiply both sides by log 11. And guess what? This is just putting it in the calculator. Watch, everybody look at what I'm going to write right here so you don't forget it. I'm going to close my parentheses, though, before I put this in my calculator. So I'm going to type in log of 101, close my parentheses, divided by log 11. Let me show you. The answer is different if I don't put the parentheses. I get two different answers there. And they're both like these weird-looking decimals, so how do you know that you did it wrong if you weren't paying attention? Okay? So make sure you close the parentheses on top before you divide. Or another thing you could do is hit enter. So you could do log 101, enter, divided by log 11, enter. And then round to 4 decimal places. So that would get us approximately 9246. The 5 to the right of the 6 is the boss. The 5 tells the 6 to go up. So most of the time you're going to get yucky decimals on these. You're not going to get just 5. Could you? Sure, you could. But most of the time you're not. Okay? Again, I would look to see if I could make like bases here, like we did here. Okay? Because that method is a lot easier. But by the way, using this method that we're learning right now on this problem would have worked. You could take the log of both sides here and you'd get the same answer. Okay? Taking the log of both sides, though, is what we have to do with this one. So what we do is we give both sides the word log. Don't forget to give it to both sides because you can do anything to an equation as long as you do it to both sides. Okay? And why we did that is because now that it's a log, we can apply that power property and bring the exponent down to the front. So it's x times log 2 equals log 15. And like Mandy told us on the last one, we're going to divide both sides by log 2. Remember, your goal is solving for x. We want to get x by itself. Opposite of multiplication is division. And then I'm going to put that right in my calculator. So that's log 15, close my parentheses. If you're worried that you're going to forget it, hit enter and then divide. but make sure you check your answers on these so you know you're getting them right. So that would be 3.906. So the 9 tells the 8 to go up to a 9. Okay. So the first part of our homework is just like these two, just practicing basically rounding and then solving equations. And we're going to take these to more levels over the next few days. So make sure you understand this level, and then that'll make the next one easier. Did I have you guys rip out 77? I don't remember. I did? Okay. So you should have 77 ripped out, or you have your book. If not, maybe check. Now listen, you can copy my answers, especially on 1 through 6. It's not going to help you know if you're rounding correctly. So guys, please, 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 please try to, don't try to do them, and then ask yourself, did I get it right, or did I get it wrong? So this is D2. The worksheet yesterday was D1. Okay, 1 through 6, 9 through 11.